Alright, so no Red Baron today. I don't have any wire, not until tomorrow. So what I decided to do is I'm going to work on my friend Rich's trike. He drove this probably 4 or 5 years ago, guessing. It's a really neat unit. It's one of the, I can tell by the headlights that it's not one of the what's-his-face's designs, but it's the same basis. He wants the fenders off. He has a Highway Flyer transmission right there that's going to go in. He's going to get tires and rims or whatever he wants to do. I have the bumper right here. It's kind of rusty. I brought it in so it didn't get too bad. Let me get a front view of this thing. Everything's neat and stuff, but man, whoever wired this thing, if you think mine was a rat's nest, let me show you this. First, we have idiot lights. This is the only one connected. These might be connected, but I don't dare put power to it. This is the wiring. It's just strewn everywhere. And this is a weird one. The handlebars have to come off in order just to get the body off. And I have 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here. I already got these out, and I have the bracket for it. Let me spin you around, hanging up there. That holds up the back end. So I told him, you know, we'll get cracking on this thing. Maybe he can buff it out, put some speakers in these holes. The dash is really friggin' 1970s. I don't even know if you can see it because I'm facing the sun, but it's cute. I mean, it's got potential. His T-bar is bent way the hell up there, and I don't know why, but I already have a T-bar. I got the one that I didn't use, which is in here somewhere. I think he'd like that idea. I just seen it. It's right there. There's the handle for it, and there's the bracket. So we'll put that T-bar on this thing. But I have to get this damn body off, and that's going to be a nightmare. Nothing unplugs. Everything was hardwired. I don't know how the hell this guy hardwired this thing. One piece at a time, I guess. Here's Rich on the messenger asking me questions. When's my bike going to be done? A month, maybe? But he does have all the parts for his engine. He bought a 75 amp alternator. He bought pistons and rings. He bought all kinds of blue goodies. Anything blue. Bumper I'm not worried about. It was already rusty when we started, but it'll clean right up. They're nothing to him. He's questioning 100 things. He's got the swing axle, so he's got room for a gas can, a gas tank underneath. His fuel pump is bad. I got a brand new one right there for him. I'm shaking a little bit. Take my shirt off. It's freaking hot out here. But I have to pull this transmission, hopefully right now. Yeah, very basic. A piece of angle iron from one shock tower to the other, and everything sits on that. And there's a bracket up front. I mean, some of the wires, they ran them pretty good, and then others, they just went hell with it. So that had to be like previous owners went, screw it. What the hell is that? A rod? A piece of crap just welded up on a bracket. I would throw that away. I wouldn't even use that. If this was going on my trike, if those fenders were going on my trike, I'd make new brackets. So I cut all that stuff off, clean it up, and make it fit the IRS. But I don't know if he wants these fenders or not. We'll find out. But so let's see. This one's wrapped nice. They put it in yellow, the casing. Why yellow? Who went, I know, we got a blue trike. Let's put it in yellow casing. People are crazy. I don't know what you can see here, so. See, it just goes shock tower to shock tower. And the body sits on that. These bolts are absolute murder to get to, too. They're 7/16. That's all it holds this rear body on. 6 7/16 screws or bolts. And it's not a bad body. They did some of the electrical right, and then other stuff is just hacked. Oh, they even got the right plugs. Amazing. But everything should have unplugged. How the hell do you get the body off if you can't unplug something? Oh, you pull over on the side of the road and something broke, a wire. Good luck finding it. You're gonna tow it home. I got a radio for him, possibly. I'd like to make his dashboard in a piece of either 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch solid oak, and get rid of all this stuff. It's got a temperature degree thing, but there was no sensor. It's got an oil pressure switch. All you need is an idiot light. You don't need an amp light. The speedometer is the best thing there. So the tank will work, the speedo will work, and probably the amp probe. You don't need a degrees Fahrenheit, and we don't need a PSI thing. If this thing loses oil pressure again, I have a little trick that I do where I wire the oil pressure switch to the ground side of the coil. And what it does is if you've got no oil, it don't run. It takes it a little harder to start because it has to build up pressure first, but once it builds up pressure, it starts right up. I should have done that to mine, but I didn't. But I'm gonna work on getting this rat's nest out of here. Holy crap, look at this mess. Ugh, I can't wait. Might even want to get new lights. This one's nice and shiny. This one's all like sun faded or shattered or something. All right, having fun playing with Rich's trike. I'm gonna ride this thing. This is almost like the one I had 35 years ago. Well, I can't say I had. It was my friend. Oh, excuse me. I just had 12 pieces of ravioli. Big ravioli that the wife made. This is just like my friend Ed Keith's, but this is just a different style. This one's kind of neat how the bitch seat has, they literally sit right behind you. The one I had was similar, but I keep saying I had. It was my friend's, but I drove it more than he did, I believe. I maintained it. I was the only one who could drive it because I was the only one that maintained it. And then one day I went over his house and he sold it. I was so pissed. These are some weird taillights. I mean, how many do you need? 2? Probably 2. All right, I gotta get this body off. I gotta get those 2 7/16 screws off. Look at it. They use such a small screw, it's making the fiberglass crack because they had it down so tight. This one too. All the flexing in the body is right there. Are you kidding me? What holds the front? Nothing. That piece right there, you mess with that, that swoop, this whole front end just bounces all over the place. But I'm gonna do as much as I can, get it running, driving, hand him the keys, make a dash, whatever it takes, and get it out of my yard. Poor thing's been here like 2 summers. I think the first summer I got it was the end of summer. It started snowing, so we covered it up. And here it sits. His engine is right here, all wrapped up, waiting for pistons, jugs. I don't remember if I got any cylinder heads, because it's been so long. But this is one of the engines that we got. He bought a bunch of parts with 2 engines. One of them was together, but it was nasty. This one I made from parts. That's going to be probably trike number 3, which is just going to be like a rat trike. You'll be lucky if I even paint it. But, or it'll probably be like an army green or something like that. But, all right, I got to get this handlebars off. Disconnect any electrical. Probably just cut it. It's just as easy because it's an absolute mess. Everything's a mess. This is so sun-dried, and it's just an on-off switch for the lights. Why not put it in the dash? Why bother with bringing it up here? You got your grips, and it should come right off because they're probably so dry. That's just high beam, low beam. You could have put that anywhere. Okay, left directional, right directional. It could have been a switch. You can do whatever you want, you know. That's what it was. That's what somebody made it as, so I get to take it apart and make it right. All right, having fun. I'm going to take so many pictures of this thing. We'll call this the Red Baron Takes a Break. I just took a ride. The thing runs beautiful. After the tire pressure change, like I said, I had one that had like 11 pounds and the other one had like 30. Now they're both at 35, I believe I set it at. You can let go of the handlebars and it'll go straight. And that's something you don't do with a trike because you'll usually let go of the handlebars and it'll turn left or right and it'll go left and you're going the other direction. But I'm shooting my mouth off and nice blue dune buggy glitter. It's not bad, it just needs a buffing. It needs a good buffing and it'll be fine. I don't know what this was. He said they were speakers and somebody put diamond plates over the things. That looks terrible. Unless your wife's putting her foot through the speakers, then I'd be like, that's a good idea. All right, this is ground strap. Having fun. Dear God, save me. So here I am taking apart Rich's blue trike, and a UPS truck pulled up. Scott, I don't want to get you dizzy here. Check this out. This wasn't supposed to show up for like another 2 days. Ooh, look at how bad that thing is. Oh, Brand new. Just gonna have it mounted. Thank you, Scott Belt. Have a good day, buddy. So here's Rich's trike. It's kind of exploded. Here's his fenders. Front one's junk. It's broken in half. This is rusty rim. It'll clean up okay. This is what's left of the electrical. Not counting what's there in the body itself. But the frame looks good. Nice and clean. Really nice design. He has that room for a battery that I don't have. He has room for a gas tank that I don't have because this is a swing axle, pre-1968. So you have those long single tubes, but his wheels bow out. Or camber. Is camber right? Camber out. Mine only do that very little at any height. That's what a swing axle does. This is probably a really early 6-volt because it's got the cast clutch tube mount. And if you see on the side right here, looks like they had to grind a little because the flywheel for the old one versus the new one is just a little bit bigger. What I used to do is start the engine and then just tighten the bolts. It'll take care of it. So his transmission is coming off. Gotta take the axles off here. All the bolts are out, the shocks are off. Disconnected at the bottom. But I have to pull it back. Problem is, I gotta take the rubber pads off because I don't have that big, what is it, like 26 or 36 millimeter socket for that thing. I also gotta dig out the new transmission, which is behind a 300-pound plate of Kevlar. It's back under there somewhere. Here it is, waiting to be installed. See, brand new axles in it. It's got a ridiculous ratio. It's like putting a Volkswagen in 5th gear that it never had and starting out in 2nd because I guess they moved the gears over or something. Very expensive transmission. It's actually a very expensive trike for its day. I think you could build them for like $3 grand, which wasn't a bad deal, but now to find one they're like $7 grand. That's why he wants to get it going. I told him money's going to be no object, and he's been buying things so far. It's doing good. He bought a whole bunch of Volkswagen parts. That's what we built these 2 engines from. One from his, the best one, and then one that I just built from my parts and his parts and just slapping things together. But this should be a pretty cool trike when it's done, after I do the whole electrical system over. Didn't I just do this? I did, yesterday. That one's about 99% done. But I just had the UPS truck show up. And there's my new tire for the front of my trike. I don't want to get too close because it's got my address on it. It's the exact same tire as the one that's on it right now, a 190, let's kick it out, 190/19. It's the exact same tire, but it ain't all dry rotted. I think mine sat on a flat for a long time. Alright, boys and girls, this is it for today. I'm going to help somebody put a stereo in their car out here in this Buick Century. Have a good night. I'm sure I gotta take plenty of pictures, right? I think I did. So I have these little metal plates that I got from work, and I have an idea to use them. I made a little X on one to find the center, and I drilled an 1/8 inch hole, and now I'm drilling and tapping them to 1/4 Might be shaking a little. My battery went dead. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 left, maybe 4. These are going to mount onto the angle iron on each side of the back seat, and this will be a mounting point for what I'm going to make to go on either side, which I'm thinking another wire form shape, something like the wings. Extend out back, cover the front. Just having fun and having ideas, you know. Didn't have to do this tonight, but I've been messing with this trike all night, all day. I stripped this sucker down in probably 3 hours. I cleaned and I painted some of the frame, degreased it all. There isn't gas in there, there's caramel in there. It was like, it's like maple syrup coming out of that tank. So I'm going to have to take that tank and wash it out with some real gas maybe. This is the old transmission, like I said. The new one's under the seat over there in the back. Highway Flyer, about $900 for that transmission. And it should go like a raped ape. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. But my battery died. Alright, having fun. Well, I got 10 of them done. I need 16. 8 threaded and 8 with 1/4-inch holes. Oh boy, I'm tired. Going in. Have a good night. So here's Rich's frame of his trike. It's pretty much all that's left. I've already changed the shifter bushing. Transmission's out. I have to pull the tubes and the drums off because his new transmission just has the axles. You can see one sticking out right there. And I got to get that 300-pound Kevlar plate out of the way. That's going to be fun. So here's the rest of his electrical. His shifter plate was on upside down, or backwards, or whatever you want to call it. That thing right there was backwards. He kept saying, oh, it was real sloppy. Somebody cut about 6 or 8 inches off of his shifter too. That doesn't make for a short throw shifter. It makes for a hard shifter. And how did you put 4 lug drums on a swing axle? I think the drums just slide on, but you got to change the interior because the interiors are, well, the old ones are 1/16", and I think these are 2-inch on the newer drums. But I think they're all one and the same, so one probably fits the other, obviously. Alright, having fun. I bought some wire loom for his. Let's buy this stuff. It's like 25 cents a foot. Good stuff. I used it all on mine. Actually, some of this is from mine too. I got some shrink tube too, if I knew where it was. Oh, they're right here. Shrink tube for the wires when we put them back together correctly. It's got a CNC brake slave, which is cool. That's actually like 60 bucks. He's got Harley grips on one side. The other one's been missing forever, so he's going to get some new Harley grips. I'm going to bed liner some spots of rust on this thing and take this apart and put the new one in. Call it a day, I hope. Alright, I'll take pictures as I go. Just when I thought I was done with Rich's trike, getting a new Highway Flyer transmission in and mount up the axle tubes and stuff, I run into this. The axles that were in his transmission are about 1.5 inches longer, and I guess there was 3 sizes for the swing axle. One of them was short, which these are. It used the smaller drums. I think they're 1.125" or 1.16" or something like that. The brake shoes are. Then there was a 67, which was a 1 year, and then there was one after that that used 4 lug drums like these are, and longer axles, which are in that transmission over there, puking on the ground. Very little oil on that thing, man. If there was a cup of grease, I'd be amazed. But I'm going to measure from the flange on this one. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of dark out. I'm going to measure the flange out and see what the difference is. I can already see the difference. I should have looked. That means I have to take and lift the transmission up and take all of those outer bolts off and pull the whole blade right the hell out. The shaft, it's got like a, it looks like a shaft pounded flat, put it that way. It's like a hockey stick. You know, that's a hockey stick. But I got to do that on both sides. This is a $1,000 Highway Flyer transmission rebuilt by the right gearbox. Right gearbox. Can't wait to see what this thing will do on the highway. Woohoo! But I've got his electrical system over here. Whole bunch of colored wires. I picked up some wire loom for him. Let me find that. This stuff. Just like mine. I bought like 16 feet of it because I need some for mine too. Is my new tire waiting to go on, huh? So yeah, I am not taking that apart again. Actually, I am, but I'm not doing it right now. I cannot believe that. Oh well. Learn by doing. Next time I'll measure the damn thing, right? The difference is this one is 23 and a half. That one is 26. That's why I can't get the drums on. So these axles have to come out of these tubes. Those axles have to come out of that tube and go in this tube in this transmission. Oh boy. Hi boys and girls. It's like my second night on this thing. It's going fine. Rich is going to give me some money this weekend. I got to get a whole bunch of little goodies, and because the connectors they give you with this thing is crap. These are little tiny tin connectors. I got some good ones we're going to use. But he's giving me some money, and he's bringing me some gear oil for this transmission, and any other little thing I have to buy for it. I'm thinking the electrical for this thing is going to be really simple. This was such a spaghetti mess, a rat's nest, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to do like I did mine. I'm going to run the main power lead right up the middle of the tube, come out, and then go around and go to the battery or the alternator lead on the starter, just like all I did on mine. I just said that. Everything that's powered up front will be powered by a key switch or the trigger on the dash or something like that. He doesn't want us cut up his dash too much, but it's got the stupid idiot, whoever made the Trike, cut the old stereo hole in it, so he's got to get a new stereo hole. I said make a nice oak dash and half-inch oak and fill it out and all that and make it look good. He's like, eh. So we'll do what he wants. It's not my Trike. I just get the lucky guy to put it together and fix it right the first time. I think I'm going to pull that tranny apart. Oh boy. And here's the greasy mess. That shaft comes out this side, the driver's side, put it that way. Because if you put it in on the passenger side, of which you can do, the ring gear, you put this ring gear on the passenger side, you're going to end up with 4 speeds in reverse and 4 speeds in reverse and 1 in forward. And it can be done because this bearing and this bearing are the same thing, so you can get this on very easily. It's obviously just like a limited slip or like a floater. One wheel's a floater. Yeah, there's nothing in there, just your average floating rear end. Now we get to take that one out tomorrow. Boy, I tell you this, I do have plenty of 13mm nuts now. Holy crap. There's like 8 of them, and then there's 8 more around the ring, so I got like 16 more nuts. Nope, I got 32 more 13mm nuts. Oh boy. Alright guys, it's been a long day working on Rich's Trike. This ain't even my Trike. Why the hell is this in here? My Trike's out there. Just barely see it. I got a nice waterproof cover for the engine. I had an idea too. I have a pre-60 something Pope's Nose tailgate. I was thinking I could trim it down and make it some kind of an engine cover, or who knows. But that's just a thought. I get these crazy thoughts all day. Oh my god, see you tomorrow. Another day, another $1. $1.50. Now I get to put this thing in that transmission because this one has short axles. Yeah, they don't stick out all the way. You know how much that sucks? It's probably like a 67 transmission. Alright, having fun. Not really, but having fun. Alright, let me put this thing on my hand. Day number 1 of wiring Rich's Trike. I have a heavy red wire that starts here, 2 of them actually. This one goes all the way up through the tube to the first relay. This is the main ignition relay. It goes to one of the big spades. The other one is being switched, goes down to the fuse block. See the fuse block? Alright. The green one, I always use green for the starter, which goes all the way in through the tube and goes to this relay, which is actually grounded here. And it triggers this, so the power comes in to the relay is activated, and it triggers this switch because Volkswagens are famous for backfeeding a lot of heavy power through the starter. When you're putting that kind of load on the harness, you'll burn it up. So I always put a relay there. Like I said, I use the ground here for this relay. That's the switch side for the relay, and then the power goes in, so you only need one wire to activate this and turn the starter on. The second one, this is the little one. The little one is the main, goes all the way up front, comes out here. I forget what the hell that's for because I'm talking to myself. That's for the ignition. That's what it is. There's actually two here. I wish I didn't wrap it. This one goes to the starter. This one goes to the ignition switch. This is the constant power for the ignition switch, goes right to the first relay. Okay? It's in the same plug to the one that comes with the battery. They're both on the same lead. So you get your key switch. When you turn the key, all the lights come on, which activates this connection, the one for the fuse box. All the lights come on like a motorcycle. And then when you turn it all the way, it sends power through this one to the relay out back to start the bike. That's it. That's the first one. That's the thing that would make it run. The only thing I'm missing is I'm going to make another hole for a coil wire and probably the directionals. I like to use orange for directionals, and I use a thin red wire for the coil wire. You don't need a relay with the coil wire, but it doesn't have to be super heavy. You're only giving 12 volts to a little coil. So I need one more hole probably in the side, because you got to be able to get to those directionals that are on both sides of the body. So I'll have two orange and probably another red, but at least they won't all be red. Let me get on the other side in the sun here. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. Just waiting for my wife to get home so we can go to the flea market. This is one of those little $30 Radio Shack, AutoZone, Pep Boys. They all sell this thing. It's like 30 bucks or 20 bucks. I had to take the heads, I had to take the heads off the screws to shrink them down so I could screw it to the tube. But what it does is your switched power comes in, and then you have all your options like, you know, directionals and brake lights and anything that would blow a fuse, your radio. Or I didn't do that on mine because, well, it's mine. I'll do it the way I want to do it. On mine, every device is going to have its own fuse. The radio already has a fuse, and it's not even in the damn thing. I gave him a new clutch cable. His was literally down to 4 threads. There was 4 of them left, and they were going to snap. But he's got a brand new clutch cable back there. You can see it. It's easy because I don't have a clutch right now. His spring was all screwed up. I thought for a minute that it was on backwards, and I realized what they were trying to do is they hook a bolt on the back. They hook this bolt back there, and then they just lip it over this pin here, some sort of pin. And I'm like, what the hell is this one for? This is something somebody added. I can take that out. It does nothing really. It actually gets in the way. His brake light switch is right there. It uses the pressure from the master cylinder, which is actually really nice. CNC is the name of the company, CNC. And I've used those before. It's a really cool setup. It's not advanced like mine with all the steel tube and the steel bars and triangulated. And it is triangulated. It's got some 1/4 inch plate there, but I wouldn't have done it that way. Not on my ride. So right now he has primary ignition and main power. Starter relay, main relay up here, like I said. I wrapped tape, and then I put this plastic braiding stuff, and then I wrapped more tape, the wire ties, just to keep it from falling in for now. There's got to be 20 layers of freaking tape on this thing, just because it's kind of a sharp edge. So I thought I'm going to put some wire ties there too. It shouldn't be anywhere near this when I'm done. So I still have some room to pull it up some more and tie it off to the side or whatever I do. It's just, it was a main relay, and that's where I wanted it. I might make a little bracket to hold that thing, because I am the bracket master. CNC. Thing's like 60, 80 bucks. I stole the hand grip off one of his hand grips. I think these are old Harley or something. And I put them down here. He only had one on it, so I stole the other one. He's going to buy new grips. I took his controls off because they're like Chinese, Japanese garbage. Which I'm going to have him buy some better Chinese, Japanese garbage. This thing's all faded. Just buy a new one. They're like 30 bucks. That way he'll have directionals and everything right up here. He hates these handlebars. He says, oh, they're loose, and somebody put a pin through them. Oh, they put a pin through them. Too bad that wasn't the problem. The looseness is up here. The other problem is you can't get to those nuts without taking the whole front end apart. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. So, primary harness. Almost ready to go. If I had the battery, this could go on the battery, and it'd be good to go. He's going to buy new battery grounds, because I don't deal with garbage. You either want it right the first time, or we're not going to build it, you know. He's got his brand new gearbox in here. He was told this is a highway flyer. I have no way of checking it without spinning gears and stuff, but yeah, we'll find out if he can keep up with me. What else do I got to do? Horn. A horn is another one that's got to go up front. So I need 2 directional wires for left and right, a horn wire, which you really don't need a relay on this thing, but maybe we will. I can put it right there. 2 directionals, a horn wire, and a coil. And that's all I need to go to the back. Everything else is just bells and whistles and lights. Directionals, switched ignition. That'll probably have a hole here and a hole here that lets those wires go through the tube. I want to hide everything in the tube. The way this thing was wired was just ridiculous. But this way. That's the harness that was in there. It even had an electric fuel pump. I don't know why. A mechanical is so much nicer. And when you shut your trike off, if you put the accessory on, depending how you wired it, the fuel pump comes on. And I got rid of that. I got rid of that stupid voltage regulator too. I see those things, I rip them out. Just buy a 75 amp alternator for, I think, 90 bucks or 70, but you can even get for like 60 bucks. This is the mess from his so far. Oh, this is what the last guy called a short shifter. He just cut it short. Made it even harder to shift. That was the stupid little billet thing that's there, but I put the whole rear axles back in and I forgot one of those. Oh my god, had to take it all apart again. The shifter plate, you know what that is. If you're a Volkswagen guy, you know that you sit in the car and the ramp is on the right, the little one's on the left. It's a reverse lockout plate, basically. It was upside down. Oh, it's really hard to shift. I think I need a transmission. No. You need a Volkswagen guy. I have VDO gauges to connect to that. That thing's got about a ½ an inch of syrup left in it. There's the missing nut, you bugger. Goes to the shock. Actually, it goes right there to the shock. Let's put it on there a little so it stays there. I did so much last night. When I hit the pillow, I was out. I don't even remember going in the bedroom. Out. Spokes are a little rusty. They should clean up. But that is a classic trike front end. Silver paint will take care of that. You don't need chrome. Brake works, thank God. I have to put his brake lines back on, bleeded, adjust the drums. So horn, 2 directional wires, and a coil wire. 3 more wires to go through the neck here. Okay, having fun. One of the things I had was this, I think it's a 6-pin junction block. And because he's going with LED lights, I ran this 24 gauge wire. It's 4 into 1, red, black, white, green, all in one tube that I get from work. We throw this stuff out by the hundreds of feet. I drilled a little hole in the side, I wire tied it to the clutch cable, and then we'll drill a little hole, wire tied it to the frame. It's out of the way, but it's also accessible. And this is just for the LED lights, because LED lights only need 3 wires. And I ran 4, so goes in the frame, goes in the frame, comes up through the tube, and it sticks out right here. Now, I got an extra, so I could always use the brake light. I'll probably run another one of these for the horn and any extra things that he wants to add out back later on. He'll always have an extra wire, and that'll be nice. Okay, having fun. So I have this 4-strand really hard wire they throw out at work. And what I did is, it's got 2 extra wires. I only need so many for the LEDs. I don't even need a ground because you usually connect it to the frame, but I made a ground. You've got, you can't see it, can you? It goes black, red, green, white, and this one goes 2 blacks, 2 whites, a yellow, and a yellow. So it'll be ground, parking lights, directional, directional. And because it's got 2 grays in it, I stuck each one in a slot. Who knows, you could put something here later on. But the lighting sucks. There you go. You have to pause it, you can pause it. I don't know if you can see that because I can't. There it is. Black, red, white, green. A green, white. White, green, red, black. This little junction block I got somewhere. I think it was the flea market, or I found it in my collection, but it's a big one. It's not a little dinky thing either. I get little dinky ones at work. Drilled a hole, wire tied. 1 wire for LEDs. That's it. Not a big deal. I just gotta run these left and right. Actually, I gotta stop thinking dune buggy because his light is way up here in the back, so it has to come up and go back for these wires. So these could stay here for now because we don't have a location for them really. I might wrap it around here, so when the body's on, I can jump from one frame to the next frame. I believe the second frame is right here. It's hanging on the wall up there. I gotta put that on when we put the engine on. So here's his 2 nice wires for the back. I don't really need them in multiples, but that's okay. You can always add something in the back, like a washer pump that squirts the person behind you who's following your ass too close, you know, things like that. Alright, have fun. I don't want to look at this trike anymore. Oh my god, I killed myself. Yesterday, just yesterday, I didn't do any video. I took a couple pictures. I had to change the axles. You know, these axles over here, see my mess? These axles are like 1.5 inches short on both ends. So I changed the whole thing. I put them in, and then I realized that on the ground, I don't know if I have any. I do, I have one right here. On the ground was one of these. That goes on the inside of the transmission. On opposite sides of the spade. Actually goes right in there. And I dropped one. So I had to pull the transmission out again. And pulled this tube out, and sure enough, it was this one. I put it all back together, got it in there. I found another one. This time it was under that tire. I had to pull the transmission out and the axles again. And sure enough, the one on the left side was missing. This thing feels like it's zoomed in all the way. It's not. I hate this camera. It's killing me. But it's all back together. And that was yesterday. So yesterday is gone. I put the tires, rims, the drums, the rotors, the nuts, the brake shoes. Everything is back on. You just gotta turn up the brake shoes. They're loose. I had to beat the piss out of his shifter plate and straighten it out because the shifter wasn't even aligned with the shaft, and it has to be dead nut straight. I also found out that that is a swivel head and it's junk. I got to get him a new one and weld it on, cut that one off. And it's not easy because, well, the bolt broke off in that. Excuse me, friggin' thing. We got the new clutch cable. About 90% of his electrical, alright, 70 is done. And he's got a fuse block for whatever he adds. This will be wire for his, he wants to put speakers in it. I'm like, okay. This is left directional, right directional, brake lights, all that stuff. There's another set of loom that goes to the back. Let me go back there. The two little junction blocks. One's for the lights, the other one's for coil, whatever, and then there's 4 wires for the speakers that he wants to put in the back. If you remember, the body has these stupid little aluminum plates that somebody put in it. At least they did it right. And it takes these little 4x6 speakers. We have to find something tomorrow. But I've been slowly just putting the basics chrome stuff on his engine because that's what he ordered. Brand new fuel pump, brand new carburetor, air cleaner I had, blue cap. I know everybody hates the caps that are Chinese, but all this Volkswagen stuff is Chinese now.